Thank you, and I also want to welcome you here tonight. I think this is the 15th honors night that I've been a part of in Hall County Schools. And I know it goes, we've all heard the story before, but I think it's so appropriate and it's so apropos as we honor you tonight when someone comes up and asks you what the film won the Oscar last year for Best Picture, or what team won the Super Bowl last year, or which baseball team won the World Series. You can't answer that. But if you ask someone who influenced them when they were in school, whether it be a teacher or a lunchroom worker or a bus driver, they will immediately come up with a name, and they'll remember that forever. So that's so important that we treat our education system that way, and we all strive to do what's best for the kids. And I just want to thank every one of you for what you do. Sometimes it's a thankless and tireless job, but we appreciate all the efforts. I do call this meeting to order now. If you would please stand and join me in the pledge.
By the way, if you came in late and didn't get checked in, please just have somebody come around to the side here and let us know you're here. 100 years ago when I was a principal, one of the worst things you could do is have an awards night and miss a child. And after I missed one a couple times after several years, I started telling everybody at the beginning and at the end, did we miss anybody? Raise your hand, because the last thing we want to do is somebody not to be honored, particularly for a night that is bordering on sacred like this. So thank you for your service. And at this time, I think Mr. That's a pretty profound number, 1,848 years of service retiring tonight. And you know, one of the things that I say again and again, when a teacher retires, it's almost like a library is burned. And so, you know, they give me a hard time, but everywhere I go, I'm always recruiting, because I think other than making sure that we try to exemplify character in the Hall County School District, getting the best possible folks to work with our kids comes right behind it in terms of the most impossible and the most important thing that I do. So that being said, we've got a deal for you. This is one of those blue light specials. Pretend you're at, some of you too young to remember many Kmart's. But if you'll change your mind, retirees, you can keep the flour. We'll pack the to-go box, and you can even have the clock. But all that being said, thank you so much. What an incredible night of honor. But we're going to start tonight by recognizing our Teachers of the Year. You know, I remember as a kid, Mr. Hollandau, I was interested in politics. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I was an old Barry Goldwater fan, and then I thought, gosh, he thinks different than I do, but this McGovern guy's got some principles that he actually stands behind, and I was a Ronald Reagan fan. And I remember one year watching Ronald Reagan in the Rose Garden, and this is when CNN first came out, and he was recognizing the National Teacher of the Year. And I thought, wow, the National Teacher of the Year. And his name was Guy Dowd. And I even remember that Guy was from Staples, Minnesota, the Staples Cardinals. And I remember that President Reagan said something very nice about Mr. Guy Dowd, and he called him up and he gave him an award and recognized him as the National Teacher of the Year. And then the reporter started asking Mr. Dowd questions. And I remember a reporter from the USA Today, even remember his name, I think his name was Steve Marshall, and he said, Mr. Dowd, he said, how does it feel to have just been named and celebrated by the President of the United States as the best teacher in the United States of America? And Mr. Dowd displayed a character trait that I find in almost all great teachers, and it was humility. And he said, oh, Mr. Marshall, you've got to stop right there. He said, being named the National Teacher of the Year by no means makes me the best teacher in the United States of America. He said, as a matter of fact, I'm not the best teacher at Staples. I said, all right, I'm not the best teacher in my high school. He says, you know, if I'm really honest, there's days I'm not even the best teacher in my own classroom. He said, but I will tell you this, being named Teacher of the Year gives me an opportunity to stand on behalf of the 2.5 million men and women across this country that get up every day and work for the betterment of our boys and girls. He said, now that's an honor worth remembering. So would you join me, first of all, collectively in thanking our Teachers of the Year. As we used to say in the cornfields of Wisconsin, we're getting to the short rows and we're getting toward the end, but would you agree with me that if there's something that is worthwhile, it's spending a little time to honor these incredible individuals who've given their lives to the next generations. Thank you. On a light note, we believe in experiential learning in the Hall County School District, and we think sometimes the most deep and meaningful lessons are learned through experiences. So a couple of the young principals a couple hours ago out here said, "Will, aren't you going to drink some punch?" And I said, "No." And they said, "Why not?" And I said, "You'll see." So for the last hour and 15 minutes, they've been tapping their feet up here, and we are getting close to the end. On a much more serious note, one of the themes that I could not be more proud of, and I think you see it in the tears, you hear it in the words that you hear, is that we really strive and we take it seriously to be the most caring place on earth in the Hall County School District. You know, it was Vince Lombardi who I remember growing up around as a kid near Green Bay, Wisconsin. And I remember an interview right before they died where he said, "Coach, you just must have been the most incredible football man on the face of the planet." He said, "Are your guys really that good?" And he said, "No." He said, "Every team that I've coached that's won championships," he said, "they've been a group of guys that have cared about each other." He says, "They've understood that organizations move forward when you're selfless, when you care about others." And I think you've seen that in the people that we've honored here tonight. I'm going to finish this off by honoring 4 of our leaders. And you know, I could sit here and I could spend an hour speaking about each one of them, and that'd just be getting me warmed up. But I'm not going to do that as I honor these 4. What I did spend some time today thinking about was 2-3 words that describe each one of them. And the first
1,848 years. Wow. Lou Holtz once said, if you want to be happy for an hour, eat a steak. You want to be happy for a day, play around the golf. You want to be happy for a week, go on a cruise. You want to be happy for a month, buy a new car. You want to be happy for a year, win the lottery. You want to be happy for life, make a difference in others. To both of these groups, you've done just that. To the teachers of the year, congratulations. Keep doing what you're doing. We look forward to many more years of service. To the retirees, thank you for your years of service. May your years ahead be even better. And please know that even though you may never know the difference you made in the life of a child who's not left behind, the child will. Thank you so much for your attendance tonight. God bless you.